How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Z Garage. I'm Josh as always, and this week I really want to get the engine and kind of transmission back in the Z, so we're just jumping straight into it this week. I think the only things that I need to do are just finish up securing the steering rack in there, and then I need to change out the friction plate on the flywheel, and then just get it bolted to the engine. Everything is pretty much all back together, guys. So I'm super excited. We're definitely going to be able to make some really good progress this weekend. So I'm just going to jump into it. I've already done a few things on the engine. So let's go ahead and jump over there and just kind of take a look. I just kind of routed all the coolant lines, put some heat shielding on them. So they are looking really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, and then we'll just jump right into getting all of this assembled and into the car. All right, guys, I don't exactly remember where I left off in the last video, but I don't believe I had any of this over here wrapped properly, or at least, to its final form. So I wrapped this elbow here. I didn't wrap this flex tube. I didn't know if I could or not. So I've left it undone just for now. But you can see I got some heat shield wrap on. This is the oil feed, or the oil return line, sorry. And then this is coolant feed or return. I don't know which one is which. And then the other one is on the other side, back in there. And then I have the coolant lines coming up into this shielding up around here, and then plugged in on top here. And then I don't have anything going up to the wastegate yet, but there's plenty of clearance around there, so I don't think there's going to be any issue with anything getting too close to the exhaust. The one determination that I did make is that I don't really like these silicone lines. I don't think they're going to last up. They're going to withstand the high temperatures forever. I think they're going to be fine for now. I ran one on my car for, a good amount of time, but when I was pulling it off, I noticed that it kind of was not brittle, but like when I pulled too hard, it just ripped in half instead of, like being silicone rubbery. So I am going to eventually go ahead and change these over to AN. What I'll do when I do that is just remove the lower intake manifold, pull out the nipple ports that they have in there, and then I will tap and thread in like an AN line, basically, like an NPT to AN, and then we'll do AN lines from there to here. So it'll be higher temperature, higher pressure, not that there's a lot of pressure in here anyways, but just something that is longer lasting. So that is going to be in the future. Obviously I don't need that right now to get it to run. So I've got everything clamped down. I got some worm clamps for all my silicone hoses, if you can kind of see it. I think I got two big ones. I measured it out, and it was supposed to be like right in the middle of this range, but it's really small. So I might end up getting smaller clamps on those. I don't like the worm gear clamps. I would much rather have the fuel injection clamps. But like I said, I'm going to be going to AN lines. So is it really an issue? Can't say. So we'll deal with that in the future, but it's fine for now. It's fine for just getting it running and getting it tuned and everything. Just not longevity. That's where I really want to change that up. So this is looking good, guys. I think I'm going to be releasing a video tomorrow on how to rebuild your power steering pump. It should just be coming out right after this. It's not going to be its own week because it's just a small, quick video. But it was super easy, guys. I was actually surprised at how simple the pump is and how easy it was to just rebuild it. There's a couple seals in there, and the reason that I rebuilt mine was because I put in actual power steering fluid instead of ATF, which is a no-no on these cars. So I wanted to replace those seals and make sure that they were going to be okay. But it was honestly really easy. You could get it done in, like an hour if you were really trying. So that's looking good. Everything here is looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and turn my attention to my flywheel, which is right there. I bought a replacement friction disc, this guy right here, or I don't know, friction surface. So it comes with all the hardware and everything that I need. This is the kit for the Z31 if you are interested in that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take off the old one and replace it with this one here, and then we can get the engine onto the engine hoist, and then get the flywheel mounted to it, and then we'll get the transmission mounted to that, and then figure out where the starter needs to go. So that's what's in the future here. Obviously, I'm going to film some more videos between then, but that is my process flow for getting this engine ready to drop back in the Z. All right, guys, I got the flywheel friction plate swapped over. So this is the old one. You can see it's got some hot spots on it. Not looking too hot. And the new one, of course, is perfect. So that was pretty easy to do. Honestly, it didn't take too much time. The hardest part is that these are Phillips head bolts, and just making sure you apply enough pressure to not strip them. That was the hardest part. Getting them on, taking them off was super easy. So. And then, there's just a bunch of them, so it's a little time consuming. But I cleaned all those up, hit it with some brake clean so it's nice and clean. Looks really good. I went ahead and also secured my steering rack, got the new bolts in. So if you're using a later model subframe, it is M12 by 1.5. That is the bolt that you're going to need to use. And then I haven't put the steering shaft in yet. I'm going to leave that for a second. I can do it while the car is, or when the engine is still in, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. And then I secured the subframe bolts up here. These are M10 by 1.25. There's 3 on each of these braces, plus 2 for the sway bar in each, so 5 total. If you are looking to get new bolts, new hardware, I really like the look of new hardware underneath. It looks really cool. So super excited for that. I went ahead and took the intake plenum off of the engine because it's just kind of big and it's going to get in the way. I went ahead, I actually took that bracket off for hanging the engine over here. I took that off when I did the power steering pump, so I got to go ahead and put that back on. I actually took the other one off over there as well for when I did the exhaust. I'll put that one back on, and then we can go ahead and lift this with the engine hoist. So I'm going to go ahead, get all these back together, and get this engine in the air. All right, guys, if you can tell, the engine is floating. It is all up in the air. Got it hoisted up. I used these towels to protect the valve covers, so hopefully we're not going to scratch them or damage them in any ways. I went ahead and actually put in the brake booster and brake master cylinder and the brake lines. I was going to plan on doing that afterwards, but I figured right now, just because the brake booster that I have is the S14 brake booster, which is slimmer than the Z31s. So I needed to bend all the brake lines to get them into the right spot. And I wanted plenty of leverage and everything to do that. But they're all connected. These two both go to the front. I believe this one goes to the front driver's side, front passenger side, and then this one goes to the rear, and it's split at a block in the back. But I think we're ready to get the engine with a flywheel on it, so we can go ahead and try putting the transmission on. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that, guys. I think this is going to be really, really cool. All right, guys, I went to go ahead and bolt the flywheel on here, and I noticed something. If you come down here, that gasket that I put in, it slipped out and down. So I guess this is a good thing to always double check your work, especially when it's in a place that it's hard to see. Just make sure you get a camera or a mirror in there to double check, because when this was mounted to the engine stand, I couldn't really get a good visual on this. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that real quick, and then we'll get the flywheel mounted on here. All right, guys, the engine and transmission are back together. I don't have the clutch in quite yet. I just wanted to get this bolted up because what we need to see is how the starter is going to mount. And it looks like we're going to be able to go ahead and make something super simple here. Just basically a bracket that comes off of these 2 bolts right here. We're going to cut this guy out so it doesn't interfere, and then just matches up with these original holes. This one down here, this hole does not line up with this bracket, so we're probably going to have to cut that off as well. But that's okay, because, you know, we need to interface with that guy right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take some measurements, see if I can make a bracket. This might be a little bit tight to do with some thick metal, so we'll have to see how it goes. But this is looking really, really good, guys. It looks super, super cool all together. I love just sitting here and, you know, pretending to shift through the gears. So looks really, really cool. I'm super excited. I'm going to go ahead and obviously take some measurements, and then I'm going to go ahead and separate these two. I'll put the clutch back on the engine, and then I'm going to get the engine into the car first, because I took it out with the transmission attached, and it was a pain in the butt. So I am not looking forward to doing that again. I'm going to go ahead and separate the two, and then I'll just slide the transmission under and then put the engine in, and then we'll jack up the transmission and get it connected afterwards. So this is looking really good, guys. I'm super excited. So I'm going to jump forward and we're going to do something. We'll figure it out. All right, guys. Well, I didn't film a lot of the process, but of course, here is the engine in the engine bay once again. It really wasn't that hard to get it in place. Like I said, I went ahead and removed the transmission. It's still right over there, and just dropped the engine in for now, because we're going to go ahead and have to do some stuff with the transmission mounting. If you guys watched the first CD09 swap video, I am making another one, you know, in conjunction with this video here, with that and how it needs to be modified. So if you need to know, or if you want to know how to modify a CD09 to fit a VG30, that video will be coming out soon. So I'm just waiting on like actually mounting it up, getting the bracketry installed. So I only have a few videos instead of, you know, a small one and then a long wait and then another small one. So that is going to be happening soon, because I need to get my drive shaft measured so I can get it cut and made for me. But other than that, guys, it's looking really, really good. So you can see the turbo is a little bit close right here. I need to go ahead and just clock this housing a little bit. There's about, you know, I'd say an inch or so of clearance between where the filter goes. Okay, maybe like 3/4 of an inch between it and that front core support. You can see where exits down there. We need to go through that hole, so puts us in a very good position. You can see we've got clearance on all sides. The alternator wiring that we did a couple of videos ago is right where it needs to be, so that is awesome. I think this is looking really good, guys. Obviously, there's still so much work to do. You know, there's just so much stuff that I need to continue doing. I already got parts from my other house to go ahead and start putting in here. So we got all the cooling stack. We got the headlights. These are the later 87 through 89 headlights. Of course, we got the body kit from Japan that we'll be putting on eventually. So we're looking really, really good. Got a bunch of brake lines and stuff over there. So the next video is going to be just continuing on. We're going to start continuing to put all this back together. I think the next step for me is probably going to be the front end here with cooling for the AC and the radiator, as well as headlights. We're going to go ahead and do the headlight swap, so I'll go ahead and make a video on that as well. But yeah, it's looking really, really good, guys. I'm super happy with how it came out. We're gonna need to, you know, work with the fuel lines a little bit because obviously this kind of hits the manifold, the intake manifold. Actually, let me go ahead and throw it on real quick and see if it clears the hood. All right, guys, just checked the hood clearance and it does not fit, and I kind of expected that because this is a rather large throttle body. If you kind of see where it sits, it is obviously the highest point. It was hitting about right there on the hood, so that's right where the cowl is. So we're gonna go ahead and need to, I'm probably gonna order some tube that is this diameter, and then when we get this manifold finally welded, we'll just push this throttle body down. Thankfully, there's not a lot of components right here in this little area, so we can just go down so that it's kind of right there-ish, kind of next to the power steering, but hopefully not interfering. Who knows, we might have to end up getting a little fancy with it, but we'll be able to make it fit. It's not the end of the world. I kind of expected that it wouldn't because it is just so big. So I think that it is going to be good anyways. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave this episode, guys. As always, if you have any questions or comments on what I did, drop them down below and I'll do my best to answer. But we're making really good progress and I am so happy to have this back in the car. So fingers crossed that we can make some really good progress next week. And I'll see you guys then.